Manish, how do you look at this bilateral that's now taken place between the two leaders?
So this was a much anticipated meeting, and this is probably the most biggest diplomatic event from India's in the Indian diplomatic calendar this year. Now there is a lot at stake, and from what I can make out, I'm right here and also talking to a lot of people. What we saw was a very positive message coming out from Prime Minister Modi's opening statement, where he says we are committed to advancing the process of reconciliation, the peace building, and all that. And and the big takeaway, as pointed out earlier, was that Prime Minister's point that peace on the border is prevailing and should prevail. You know, that is the bottom line for India, that everything flows from there. That is, peace, maintaining peace and stability on the border is central to improvement and to sustain that improvement in bilateral relations. And I believe this has been finally agreed upon. We don't exactly know what are the subjects that were discussed and what decisions arrived at from, but what I can make out from my sources is that there is some progress on the long pending de-escalation of troops. I think that will be a major confidence building measure. And, this all builds on some of the things that were discussed at the SR talks in Delhi between National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister and SR Wang Yi. And they agreed to set up three border-specific mechanisms. And this round of talks between the leaders have further reinforced that. And another important development to note is that, the 2005 guiding principles and political parameters have been reinforced as the basis for durable boundary settlement sometime in the future. But more importantly, the importance of this meeting lies in messaging, positive messaging, and reflecting very strong political will on both sides to turn around relations. From a lot of frost has settled in after Galwan, and the process started in Kazan last year. So that is now continuing. It is also important to remember that there are many analysts or so-called experts linking this to US pressure. That is, that this meeting or this thaw is owed to Donald Trump's predatory tariff policies. But the point is that it predates America's Donald Trump's second presidency. In Kazan, it all started, and with the border patrolling agreement, and subsequently we saw many positive steps taken. The resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra was an important move. Then the decision to resume flight, which I guess after the talks, when we get to hear both sides, readouts, that the flights between resumption of direct flights will be, I expect that to be formally announced. And also a very important thing on the people to people front, that there is now a convergence that apart from diplomatic and G2G relations, government to government, we need to bolster and strengthen people to people and cultural relations. And in this regard, there was a mechanism that was set up for people to people and cultural exchanges in 2018. After the informal summit in Wuhan, it had two meetings. It included things like India-China Media Forum, Think Tank Forum, all that has been lying dormant for the past few years. And I expect this also to be reflected in the joint understanding, the decision to resume this. And also let me also emphasize that, talks have begun and the process of thawing is going on. But before the Galwan, before the crisis, as far as I remember, there were at least 25 to 30 regular dialogues at different labels dealing with different areas between India and China. And what we have seen in the last 1 year, essentially visits and talks between foreign ministers and now NSA, and now, of course, the leaders meeting. So those dialogue mechanisms my sense is incrementally will be revived. and to address, because this is a huge spectrum relationship. We are talking about Asia's two top economies. We are talking about, 2.8 billion people. We are talking about a relationship that spans different areas. Of course, trade and investment is a major part of it, but also includes geopolitical coordination in multilateral forums like BRICS and SCO and the rest. So India and China have stakes, more stakes. I think there is now that understanding that the two sides have more to gain from cooperating and creating a narrative of cooperation and partnership rather than, mutual suspicion and mutual distrust.